What's up, guys? How you living? Brainsmasher, back at you again. You'll never guess what this is. I'll give you a minute. Collection update. It has been a fucking minute. You will never believe how much work went into making the video that you are enjoying right now. Hopefully you're enjoying. If you're not enjoying this video, let me know in the comments what I can do to make your experience more wonderful. But this room finally is kind of back into some sort of working order. My studio, my man cave, my metal room, or whatnot. But a lot of people have been demanding new content. It's kind of been a minute, I know, but things are kind of underway. It's looking all right. Yeah, it's been a rough few weeks here, but got some new stuff in. A few things that I forgot to cover in my last collection update. So let's get things kicked off. I hope everything's good with you guys. But I just grabbed this at total random off the shelf. This is Celestial Season with Solar Lovers, and that's what's playing in the background. I don't know, I never really totally sunk my teeth into this album. I've probably had a copy of it for 15 years or so now, but the last few months or so, I think I've had a couple of people mention that this album is pretty special, so decided to throw it on and give it another listen. Metal Blade put this out. It came out in 95. I think Displeased put it out in Europe, but yeah, just kind of weird doom. I don't know, I just don't really have much of an opinion of it at this point. I've probably spun it 5 or 6 times in the last 10 years, so I'm really unfamiliar with it, honestly. But we got a stack. We got some CDs and a couple LPs. So in my trip to Chicago, God, I'm a jackass. I was flipping through the vinyl at Reckless Records and came across this Gallow Braid reissue, Ashen Eidolon. Man, this album is phenomenal. You could call it an EP with a bonus track, Stone of Remembrance. Whatever, either way, it is so good. I returned to this a lot. I discovered Caladan Brood first, which is the band of this is a solo project of guy from Caladan Brood, but I quickly discovered Gallow Braid, and I kind of held off on this because I wasn't done listening to Caladan Brood a lot. When I first discovered Caladan Brood, 2013 or so, I went fucking ape shit and listened to that record probably every day for a good 6 months or so. And then I kind of put it aside and I was like, alright, it's time for Gallow Braid. And it is quite a different beast. I mean, if you love Caladan Brood, there's no way you're not going to love Gallow Braid. But this is a little more, I think, Agalloch inspired. It's a little more folk metal-y, I guess. The songs are so well written. The vocals are just memorable upon impact. It is such a fucking perfectly written record, and the lore is that Jake, when he wrote this album, was 15 years old. It's just amazing. But this was kind of hard to get your hands on for a couple of years since this came out on Northern Silence, but they recently reissued it. Here's the deal. I own an original copy of the LP, and I didn't fucking realize it. It was the CD that I needed to get this new reissue of. But so I fucked up and I bought this LP version. But it's gorgeous. It is totally worth tracking down. I can't recommend this enough. You fucking gotta have this. Beautiful inlay. And honestly, I'm kind of thinking I want to own both versions of this on LP because this is such a stellar reissue. Salt Lake City, Utah. I really want to go there sometime. Comes with a sticker. Comes with a giant poster of the album artwork. And nice looking insert there. Yeah. And then look at this beautiful wax. So Northern Silence just pulled out all the stops on this reissue. This is a fucking godly record to own, and I'm super pleased I found a copy of it for pretty cheap. So I think I was pondering buying that from Northern Silence, thinking that it would sell out before any distros in the States got copies of it. And I was sitting on the toilet where I usually do most of my record buying, and I was just about to drop like $50 after shipping on a copy of that, and I was like, nah, I'm not gonna worry about it. So I was super happy to find a copy of it in a record store. So next we've got Impaler. Man, this record is godly. Goddamn godly. Just in fucking infernal black metal from Germany. I believe this was originally released in '99 or so. But I mean, you know what you're getting looking at these band photos. The album is titled Black Dominated Annihilation. I have talked about this album a handful of times on my channel because it is unheralded, underappreciated as all fuck. I think this is one of the grimmest, most just insanely chilling, yet infernal albums I've ever heard. It is so fucking good. And recently I got a comment from someone on one of my older videos where I talked about this album, and they said that the drumming is real on here. Well, for the longest time it was like this mystery of like, is the drummer playing this for real or not? I wound up looking around at the Impaler hashtag on Instagram, and I found footage of this drummer playing drums. In fact, I think he's working on either new material for Impaler or maybe another band. I needed to look further into it, but I found video footage of him playing drums for real, and it is unfucking believable. By the way, this album is very, very fast. I don't know, I'm not really good at drum numbers and all that kind of shit, but I would say he's clocking around 230 BPM, maybe 250, somewhere around there. This thing is just such a blistering masterpiece. It is maniacal how grim and trollish and fucking hellish it is. Oh, I love this record. Let's save the last LP for last, shall we? Just for the heck of it. The rest, I've just kind of picked up a few things here and there. I was visiting family the other day, decided to stop in at the old record shop, and they never have anything, but I managed to find a few things I was willing to get. I picked up this Entombed AD record, Back to the Front. I thought there was a chance that this might be pretty good. If only it, you know, I would be a little bit more forgiving, I guess, of this if it sounded great, like if it was a, you know, HM2 fucking godly sound, like I just can't get enough of. But this is mediocre as fuck. If you want Left Hand Path all over again, listen to Utratum for one. But this is not it. I don't even know why they bothered calling this Entombed anything. And like, I glossed over this when this came out back in, I don't know, 2013. Not giving a shit. But my love for Left Hand Path has been reignited by Utratum. So I thought if this kind of scratches that itch, I'd, you know, get it. But this album does not do it. It's not terrible. It's just kind of meh. Yeah, there's a bonus track, Gospel of the Horns, on here. I wonder if that's a cover. But it's not Death Breath. It's not Entombed. It's, I don't know. It's something I don't really care a whole lot about. But I also picked up Butchered at Birth by Cannibal Corpse. Yeah, I've never had a copy of this album in my collection. I'm not the biggest Cannibal Corpse fan, honestly. And I'm really only going to get the first 4. I've always had the first few, but I was always missing this. And I guess I didn't realize it until I looked on my Discogs that I didn't have it. I feel like kind of a douche for buying the copy that has the newer logo on that. That's such bullshit that they did that, but whatever. It's Cannibal Corpse. You all know that. Got a copy in my collection now. Yeah, this is the second time I've owned this one. Seems like that's an ongoing theme in my videos. Albums that I bought when I was 20 years old, didn't like when I was 22 years old and got rid of. And now I'll be 40 in a couple of months, and it's time to get all that stuff back again because I didn't get it or appreciate it at the time. This is Ophthalmia, Via Dolorosa. This is the avant-garde version. A couple of bonus tracks. One of the tracks is the Death Crush cover of Mayhem by from the Nordic Metal compilation, which I always thought was kind of cool. And then A Lonely Ceremony / The Eternal Walk. I don't know what that is. But yeah, Swedish metal supergroup. It never really quite clicked with me. But I want to give it a shot, and a buddy of mine, Dustin, how you doing? Hope you're watching, is getting rid of his whole collection, and that was what I got from him. Okay, so last collection update. Some of you, maybe only Matt Jones, will remember my love of FLWOP. And I had recently just picked up their first album, which I didn't know anything about. But I was in love with their last album, 2013 or so. So we're talking about a span of 14 years or so. So I loved their newest album. Recently got their first album, and they're totally different, but I really did love the first one quite a bit. So I decided to fill in everything in between and get 3 of their albums, and now I think I have all 5 of their full lengths. And this was easy to do because these are cheap as fuck and nobody likes this band. So I believe the second one that came out after the debut, which is called Formula, is this one, the Painter's Palette. And man, I don't know, I'm gonna have a hard time differentiating between these, I think, but because they all kind of sound the same. I wouldn't say I love any of these 3, but this might be the best one. So after Formula, they decided to just kind of throw that all in the pan and change and do something different. This has got to be one of the most boring album covers I have ever seen. Earache Records put this out in 2003, and this is interesting. Of the 3 here that I have, I think I like it the most. It really has a lot of kind of Dillinger Escape Plan-y kind of elements going on. Yeah, this booklet isn't even really worth looking at, honestly. But instead of a drum machine on this one, he hired this kind of jazz drummer, I guess, this old guy here. And I think it's pretty great. The thing about it is that there's 2 vocalists on this album, and they're going, like I said, the kind of this Dillinger Escape Plan, kind of Mr. Bungle. Kind of even reminds me of Some Oliver. There's 2 vocalists, and I think a lot of times when you have more than one vocalist, it can kind of get crowded, and they're kind of like over vocalized, and I tend to get distracted from the music, and that can be a really tricky thing to navigate. So that's kind of my only, I guess, takeaway from this that's negative. It's pretty good, but I wouldn't say any of these albums are really much to write home about. The next one, I believe, is The Pain Necessary to Know. And this is kind of more of the same kind of jazzy, proggy, I don't know, post-hardcore-ish kind of stuff like Dillinger. It's pretty good. I think it's a little bit better produced, but there are some really cringy moments on this that make it kind of hard to stomach. And honestly, I think most people know of FLWOP as a band that they aren't interested in listening to. So if I'm saying that it's cringy to most people, then I would think the whole album is cringy to most people. And that brings us to Through My Dog's Eyes. Funny thing was, I bought this on Discogs. I just bought the cheapest copy of it, and the seller lives like 5 minutes away from me, funny enough. This comes with a DVD that I will never watch. Because, yeah, there are some moments on this that are pretty fucking terrible. Poor decisions are made on an otherwise pretty decent record. Maybe over time I'll come to love them a lot more, but I will say that what there is to love about the debut Formula and the last album, the name is escaping me right now, there is none of that in any of these three records. So I don't know. I learned my lesson. I don't love any of these, but I don't think I'll ever wind up getting rid of them. But I'll probably wind up listening to the Painter's Palette maybe the most, and Pain Necessary to Know the second most. But the first one is really killer, and the last one is really killer. These are just kind of the mission is complete with me as the collector. Yeah, didn't want to spend too much time on that band because I think a lot of people find FLWOP pretty cringy. Also got in the mail this Obsidian Gate with the Night Spectral Voyage. I picked this up mostly because my buddy Chandler is just nuts about this record, and I think I listened to it for a little bit, at least long enough to go, yeah, I want that. And Chandler and I see eye to eye on a lot of stuff, so his recommendation has a lot of value to me. So the thing was, this is kind of rare and hard to get copies of. I'm not sure why. Skaldic Art put this out, and I want to say it came out... Fuck, I could just look this up before I shoot my videos and it wouldn't look like such a piece of shit. I'm going to say maybe around 2008. Tell you what, I'm just going to put it in the video and you can we can all be on the same page. Anyways, this is really, really killer. I did not expect to like this as much as I wound up liking it. It's definitely comparable to Limbonic Art, and it kind of lies somewhere between Limbonic Art and Balsagoth, which are two bands that I never really thought about the similarities of. So to have something kind of in between those two is really, really interesting. But the only complaint that I will say about this, and I think a lot of this kind of stuff kind of has this Achilles heel to it, it'll be super symphonic, orchestral, and grim as all shit. And I love that about it. Whether it's just got timpanis and orchestra going on all over the place, or if it's a lot more kind of subdued and nasty. But when you're putting something like keyboard forward like this, the Limbonic Art, there's got to be a good riff behind it. And Obsidian Gate, the music is great. The orchestration is great, and there's keyboards and the synth, but the riffs behind it, the whole skeletal structure of it, guitar-wise, is often a little bit too simple for me. I think they could have done a lot more clever things with the guitars to make this all that much better, and I think were that the case, and maybe if there were a little bit more variety to this album, this would be a classic. So check that out if that sounds interesting to you. Night Spectral Voyage by Obsidian Gate. A couple more. You know what? I'm forgetting one. Let's see here. Made an order with 20 bucks spin, mainly to get the copy of the new Ars der Livsins record, which, yeah, I'm not going to be able to pronounce this whatsoever. They are an Icelandic Viking black metal band. This part sucks. And I love these guys. I think they're criminally underrated. This booklet is so gorgeous. Most of their releases are just totally beautiful. There's tons and tons of artwork and wording in there about the stories and whatnot. The thing is, these guys use real historic Viking stories to sing about. Oh, that's distractingly bad. I can't do that. But this came out on Van Records. And I think Van Records uphold a quality to all their releases that you should know about. But I think Arstetter Lifsons is kind of underrepresented and underappreciated, but they're fucking great. I guess I would say similarities to Mist Pierning or Therming or whatever could kind of be drawn with just unrelenting might. But what I really like about these guys is their kind of acoustic interludes and the more non-metal kind of parts. If I had a remote control, I would change the track. In fact, and the vocals in this band are always just mind-blowing. I love this fucking new album. It is, I guess it's a lot more fierce and just ball-busting than I expected it to be. But it is good. I think you guys would really enjoy this. So since I was ordering from 20 Bucks Spin, I also picked up the new one from Magic Circle. What's it called? Departed Souls. I bought a copy of Snowblind. Is that what it's called? A couple of months ago, and I still haven't gotten around to listening to it. I fell in love with these guys based solely on their demo, and that's the only thing I had listened to until I got Departed Souls. Now, when I got this in, I was like, I should listen to Journey Blind before I put this in, but I never got around to it, so I still haven't listened to Journey Blind. But this is awesome. Seriously awesome. I am so fucking impressed by the singers singing. The overall songwriting is just excellent. There's a lot of bands, I think, doing this kind of thing, this kind of Black Sabbath-y kind of deal, but I don't need anybody else to do it but these guys. They're doing it fucking perfectly. They're nailing it to the wall, and everybody else can stop doing this kind of stuff. The snare sound on this kind of bothered me, but it's something I can kind of overlook. But this new Magic Circle, man, killer release. Couple more. Picked up Mortuary with Blackened Images. This was just kind of a old school death metal classic that I've always kind of seen around and never really heard or gotten a copy of. And I saw that it had been reissued recently by Moon Records. And originals of this are through the fucking roof, but this is Mexican kind of proto death metal, late era thrash, early era death metal, or yeah, came out I think in like 93 or so. Wound up picking this up, I believe, on eBay for not too much, and it's really good. I'm going to be seeing these guys live in a couple weeks, so I thought I would educate myself a little bit and pick up a copy. Comes with kind of a, what is the point of putting a poster in a CD? Comes with a poster of the cover, and it's got these couple of live photos from back in the day. My buddy Pat from Ground Zero Salem saw these guys live a couple weeks ago and said they were killer, so this kind of got me interested in picking up a copy of that. There you go, is that one. My buddy came down to visit today so that we could autograph some Satan's Almighty Penis releases, which is hilarious to me. And he brought me a copy of this Remete, or Remete. Not sure how to pronounce that or what that's supposed to mean, but listen to a few minutes of it and it is great. This is the guitar player from Woods of Desolation. This is a new solo project he's doing. This is called Into Endless Night. And this sounds a lot like Woods of Desolation. My God, I'm rusty as fuck these days, guys. I'm really sorry. Woods of Desolation are a band I never really got into. I never really got around to checking them out or finding out what album to get or whatnot. I believe I downloaded one of their records and kind of thought, meh. But this is really, really good. Looking forward to spinning this some more. Into Endless Night. So we went record shopping downtown, and I wound up picking up, this is a fucking turd, All Shall Fall by Immortal. Their worst album. I think most people pretty much agree on that. It just kind of sounds like, I don't know. It's hard for me to tell what a Bath's thoughts are on this, but they did At the Heart of Winter. Had a lot of success with that. And I feel like every album after that was just kind of trying to recreate the same record again and again, and got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Don't even ask me about that new Bath record. I haven't heard it. I don't give a shit. That last Bath album was garbage. But I don't know. The collection perfectionist, completist in me figured I'd pick it up for a couple of bucks. Yeah, it's boring. It sounds really boring thanks to Peter Taker. And I don't need to spend any more time talking about this thing. Also picked up an LP version of The Fleshland by Coffins on Relapse. This is their 2013 full length. I'm not a huge Coffins fan. I do have another, I think they have their Buried Death LP. Yeah, just filthy Japanese death metal. Good stuff. It's just meat and potatoes. It is the very definition of meat and potatoes death metal. But finally, check this out. Check out that spot gloss on there. I'll tell you what, I am really regretting putting this Celestial Season album on in the background. I fucked up bad. Anyways, this is a split release between, I don't know if you can see this, Sturmpercht and Rauhnacht. Two Austrian bands doing a collaborative album. This is fucking beautiful, man. I am a pretty big fan of Rauhnacht. I only have Urzeitgeist. I need to pick up the rest of their stuff, his stuff, actually, the soul band. And I had a download of this for years, and I would play it every once in a while, just kind of in the background. But the other day, it just hit the mark exactly where it needed to. And I wound up buying a copy of this, limited to 500, and I think it was released by the band. They seem to do their own like limited runs of stuff. 500 copies. You might be able to pick this up for around $20 or so. This is a fucking beautiful, beautiful album, though. Sturmpercht are a more acoustic, kind of atmospheric folk kind of group, and Rauhnacht is just like pagan, mighty black metal. And the dude from Rauhnacht is in Sturmpercht. So, it's a split album, but instead of having like 4 songs by one band and 4 songs by another, each song starts off as this acoustic, beautiful, kind of droning, meditative, pagan-sounding kind of song, and works its way into this mighty black metal Rauhnacht track. And the way it works so seamlessly, it has this just wonderful ebb and flow to it. Every song is about 10 to 12 minutes long, and it just has this nice, listenable rhythm to it. It's so good to hear these long, drawn-out compositions that start so beautiful and just pensive and I guess heady in a way, and wind up sounding just awesome, mystical black metal. It's kind of like the same formula over and over and over again for each track, but it just works really well as an album. I just think this is a brilliant release, and it comes in a beautiful A5 digipack. Let me know. I'm on the hunt. I have a lot of these A5s that I'm kind of wanting to protect, and I'm thinking about trying to order some protective bags for these. If you guys have a link on that, let me know. I have a couple of different sizes of them. I'm thinking about maybe ordering like comic book bags or something and kind of folding them over. I just don't have a good solution on that. So if you do, let me know, please. And I thank you. Thanks for watching. We will see you next time. This room is back in action, so my videos might get a little more frequent. But we'll see. See you next time.